Hi friends, and welcome back to Sew HoneyBea. In today's video, I am so excited to share with you my vintage pledge for 1930s. It is this suit right behind me here. I wore this suit for the summer convention and really felt special in it. There are so many details in these patterns that I loved, and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. So let's get started. Let's get started with the patterns I used for my vintage pledge. The jacket pattern is McCall's M6995 View A. And while this pattern is no longer in print, there are many other patterns out there like it. The skirt pattern is McCall's M6993, also View A. The pleats in this skirt pattern made it an easy choice for my vintage pledge. Now these other two patterns I did not use for my vintage pledge, but I did use them to complete the outfit. The blouse I used was Simplicity pattern number 1920, View A. While this blouse can be pretty bland, I'll show you how using lace can really make it stand out. Finally, the slip I wore was from Buttrick B6031. I'll show you how using an invisible strap can make a huge difference in any outfit. Okay, now that we've shown the patterns, let's jump right into the jacket. McCall's M6995 is a vintage jacket from their 1933 archive collection. This pattern, more than any other, makes me feel like I'm right in the office of the Morning Post with Rosalind Russell and His Girl Friday. While this pattern is no longer in print, you could also use Simplicity 8508 or Buttrick B6379 as a substitute. Personally, I had even more fun making this suit because I was able to use my 1938 Sears Kenmore sewing machine. I felt like I was back in time, like a seamstress that had just got her hands on a new modern pattern. Now let's talk about what I loved about this pattern starting from the top, the shoulder darts. For those of you who may not know, a shoulder dart allows you to adjust the pattern to fit any shoulder width. A little lower is a back dart, which allows you to adjust to fit your body size. When making a bust, waist, or hip adjustment, it can all be done in this one dart, which makes for a happy tailor. Now let's talk about the next thing I loved about this pattern, the pockets. First off, they're fully lined, which gives you an opportunity to add a personal touch. Second, because the pocket is enclosed in the side seam, it allows you to show off your skill in lining up a pinstripe fabric. Now this may look difficult, but in a later video, I'll show you a tip that makes it very easy, even for a beginner. Now let's take a look at a vintage detail that I loved, the cuffs. This is a cuff that you only see in vintage patterns, and it's making a comeback in modern fashion. I love when people make their projects unique. So what I've done with the cuffs is add a jeweled button to complement them with a beautiful detail. Last but definitely not least, we have my favorite thing about this jacket, the lining. Lining is an easy way to add a wow factor to a jacket. It's a chance to make your suit like no other. I picked out this fabric because it just jumped out at me. This is a navy blue suit, which is a neutral color. So I wanted the lining to express who I am. Now, because this fabric is silky, it can be hard to use as a lining. But in a future video, I'll show you my tip on how you can easily use silky fabric in any garment. Now that I've sold you on the jacket, let's move on to the skirt. McCall's M6993 is a vintage skirt from their 1933 archive collection. Now something very bizarre is that these skirts are used on the cover picture of my jacket pattern. To my knowledge, this is the only McCall's pattern to do this. It makes me think these two patterns used to be combined, but somewhere down the line were separated. However, unlike the jacket pattern, this one is still being printed. Something that always catches my attention is a good pleat on a skirt. In the 30s, pleats were used on many straight skirts. This made it much easier to do everyday tasks comfortably and modestly. In today's fashion, you will most likely see a slit in a skirt, but a good pleat never goes out of style. Now let's talk about the yoke in the skirt. Typically, yokes are used only as a fashion statement, and they get a bad reputation because they can be difficult to do. However, it is so worth the effort, so even if you find it challenging, keep at it. It's a clear sign of someone who is no longer a beginner sewist. Another thing I did to the skirt was add lace tape to the hem. If you'd like to check out that video, just click the link in the description below. Now let's talk about the other two patterns that are not part of my vintage pledge, but I used them to complete my outfit. The blouse is Simplicity pattern number 1920. I picked up this pattern a while ago in a pattern haul, and it's been in my stash for a while. I wasn't really sure what to do with it because it's a pretty drab basic blouse pattern. However, with patterns like this, there's a lot of potential to use a unique fabric. What I did was use lace fabric to give it an elegant touch. It really elevated the pattern from drab to special. However, because my blouse is made of lace, I needed a slip to go with it. For that, I used Buttrick B6031. It's part of the Patterns by Gertie series. Although it's not a traditional vintage pattern or reproduction, it definitely passes the vintage test. What I did to make this garment special was add some Dritz fashion straps. I had never used these before, so it was a bit of an experiment, but one that I will definitely use in the future. These straps are invisible, so you don't have a bunch of them showing on your shoulder. It's an easy way to clean up the look. There you have it, my vintage pledge for the 1930s. I had a blast making this suit, all the way from picking out the material to sharing it here with you. It also gave me an excuse to watch those classic movies that I love for inspiration. So now I have a question for you. What are some of your favorite classic movies? Leave your answer in the comments below. And while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Until next time.